And to revisit the conversations that we were having as a group earlier today, regulation has come up several times as a headwind here. When it comes to
everyone are moving.
Everyone. I see everyone reacting. Yeah, right. And it gets more complicated because even just within the U.S. or where Jonathan and I are from, California is going to have very different AI regulation laws than the rest of the country, and then all of those international groups are also, the EU and elsewhere, are going to have their own regulations. Without diving too deep into the regulatory weeds, do you see the coming tide of AI regulation as a significant headwind to building these kinds of great companies?
I want to believe that eventually regulation and any kind of standard will be business driven.
Mm-hmm.
Today we see that enterprise and corporates are having hard time to actually integrate and to insert really Gen AI software into the companies. It's mainly due to several main barriers like privacy, intellectual property, cost, storage, and so on. So maybe if the Gen AI companies will somehow embrace this kind of regulation and standards, they will gain the trust of the corporates and the enterprise, and this will help them to do business with them.
Right.
So maybe the business side will be the driver for regulation and standards implementation, and not just some kind of enforcement to do something just because it's standard.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that drives innovation is when you're innovating, you have free license to ignore a lot of rules and regulations and run experiments that big companies don't have, right?
Yeah, I think a good governance framework would be very helpful for the industry. You should strike a balance between between a good governance and the bad governance. This is a very powerful tool, AI. So from the government's point of view, I think intuitively they would like to control this tool, either China government or other governments. They have to figure out how to control the development of the artificial intelligence, the large language models, because I think in a very short time we will be using the AI tools everywhere in the society. So this is very important for the governments.
Can you talk a little bit more about what do you mean by good governance versus bad governance? Where do you draw the line?
Be careful.
I think China is one of the early movers in this area. The Chinese government have been released some guidelines last year about how to use the data to train your models, to file for the models you have been trained, to file for the use of the large models, large language models. If you are going to use, some large language models from overseas providers or domestic providers, you have to let the government know. And also, China is trying to protect the data privacy of the industry. So I don't think they have comprehensive governance framework, but they are trying to do that. And in some aspect, they are actually learning from the European governments. They are the first one to try to govern the development of the AI language models.
I find that it's going to be a very difficult task to have a unified kind of global governance framework. But I just hope it's not going to be too restrictive or too punitive for the tech ecosystem.
There's a lot of competing priorities, right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.